During any interview, one of the section where many people really struggle is when they have to explain their career gap. So if you have taken some gap in your career, maybe due to personal reason or a health reason, some recruiters, some interviewers might ask you about that, like why there is an employment gap on your CV. So you should be able to explain that very confidently with the right kind of reasons. So this is the topic on which we are going to discuss today. I would tell you how you can handle this question in a right way. Let's get started. Now, the candidates which have career gap on their CV, they definitely face some challenges in getting shortlisted for the interview. And once they get shortlisted for the interview, during the interview, many interviewers would definitely ask about that employment or career gap. Now, why they are asking that question? There are three main reasons for that. The first reason is interviewer wants to know that are you committed to full-time jobs? Are you someone who wants to continue doing full-time jobs? So this is the first reason why they are asking you. Because at the end, companies don't want to hire candidates which would join in a full-time role and then again leave it for some reason, right? So it is very important for them to understand that are you here for a long term or at least for a couple of years of assignment. The second reason why they're asking is they want to know that are you skilled enough. Let's say if you're having a career gap of 3 to 4 years, right? Then would that impact negatively on the way in which you would perform your full-time role? So your skills, are they updated as per the job market? So that is the second thing interviewer wants to know, and that's why they are trying to understand your career gap. And the third reason is sometimes just curiosity, because interviewers are also curious to know why you have taken that career gap. What was the reason behind it? So these are the three main reasons why interviewers ask candidates about their career gap. Now, why candidates are taking career gap? What are the reasons for it? See, in the student phase, I have seen that many people take career gap for preparing for the MPSC or UPSC exam or for preparing for the GATE exam. So these are the exams for which students spend years, like specifically for MPSC and UPSC. I have seen that students spend like 3 to 4 years in just preparing for this exam. And for most of the candidates, the outcome is not positive. And then they want to get back to IT industry or get back to the mainstream job market. The second reason is the health reason. Many people sometimes they have to take the career gap due to the health reasons, which is a legitimate reason. Then specifically in case of the women candidates, I have seen that they take career gap for childcare, which is again a very, very legitimate reason. So you would see 2 to 3 years of career gap in many women candidates CV because of the childcare. And the fourth reason, which is again very, very applicable considering the current job market. So if you have been observing the job market in 2022 and 2023, there was a lot of layoff, lot of firing which happened, right? So because of that, some people lost their job or some people resigned from their job, and in the new company, they never got the right joining date. And then they ended up like looking up for the job for a few months, right? So that also created a career gap on their CV. So these are 3 to 4 reasons why people generally have career gap on their CV. Now, how to handle this? Like when it comes down to the interview, how to make sure that this is not impacting your interview outcome in a negative way. Now, one of the things that I would recommend all of you is when you're creating your CV, let's say that you have been preparing for 3 years for MPSC and UPSC, okay? And you have graduated, let's say in 2018. And after that, for 4 years, you prepared for UPSC, but you couldn't crack it. Now, what you should do is you should clearly write that on your CV. Create a section on your CV where you mention UPSC exam preparation 2018 to 2022, and then write 2 to 3 lines that how you prepared for the exam and what was the outcome. So this is much better than keeping that section empty. One of the mistake that people are doing when creating their CV is, let's say they completed their graduation in 2018. They would write that, and after that they would suddenly write some program or some course that they are doing in 2024. So that gap is like creates a lot of ambiguity in the mind of recruiter who is trying to shortlist the CV. So it's better if you directly write down why you have taken that gap and the reason for it. Same for the people, let's say, who are taking the gap for childcare or taking the gap for any health reason. You can clearly mention it in your CV. I don't think it is going to create any negative impact. If you compare it with the negative impact which is created by not having clarity, it is much more than not writing something in your CV. So it is better that if you clearly write in your CV that why you have taken that career gap, that gives a lot of clarity to the recruiter. Now, when it comes down to the question, right, when someone asks you that why you took the gap, first thing is on your CV, it would be very clear why that gap was there. Let's say you are someone who has been preparing for the UPSC and someone asks you, okay, why you took that gap. So you can clearly say that, okay, you were really motivated in preparing for that exam and let's say working for people, working for the government, but you tried your best, but you couldn't crack it. And most of the people don't crack it. So there is nothing negative about it. So be very, very confident when you are explaining your career gap. Even if you have taken, let's say, career gap for childcare, it's a very legitimate reason. There is nothing negative about it. So when you talk about your career gap, you have to be very, very confident. The second factor which you have to address in your answer, because the interviewer is trying to understand this career gap, is it going to impact negatively in your way of working? So you should definitely tell about how you are handling that career gap. So for example, I have taken, let's say, career gap of 3 years for childcare, okay, and now I want to get back to job market. So I should definitely talk about different projects I have built, different upskilling programs which I have went through to ensure that I am still having up to date market. That career gap is not going to impact the way in which I would do my job. So give that clarity as well. Also give the clarity about your responsibilities. So for example, if you are someone whose career gap is not very clear, right? Then you have to make sure that you can also talk about your responsibilities. So if you talk about your family and the responsibilities that you have, that also gives clarity to the interviewer that you are here for the full-time job for at least for next few years. You are not someone who is going to just take a job, leave it. You're not having that kind of attitude. So give that clarity as well. And the most important factor, whenever you're having career gap, I would definitely recommend you to really prepare well for the technical round of the interview. Because if you answer the technical questions in the right way, if you talk confidently about your career gap, I don't think that career gap would impact you negatively. Because even in India, I think people are well aware now that for different reasons, sometimes we have to take a career gap and there is nothing negative about it. But where people struggle while explaining that gap is they talk with very low confidence. That's what I have observed. You don't have to talk with very low confidence about your career gap. Speak up confidently, tell the right reason, don't try to fake it. That's what I would tell you. And at the same time, definitely tell that how you're ensuring that career gap is not going to impact your job. So talk about your projects, talk about the upskilling programs that you have went through. That would definitely help you to cover that career gap in a positive way. So you can try this strategy in your next interview and let me know what happened through that. And let's see if you can find out even better strategy. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.